Welcome back, Americans. We just had some off-air comedy, so excuse the laughter. So we're gonna get into my thought of the week, and I've put a lot of thought into this. I actually talked to my youth. I work with youth in my church, and this situation with Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, where um, Carmelo Anthony stabbed that young man in the chest, and now he's unalive. He was a twin. He died in his brother's arms, and y'all know the story if y'all been keeping up with it. Um, the,
Hold on, wait, because you need to clarify because my jaw dropped. You're not talking about the basketball player.
no.
Okay.
It's a young man, 17 years old.
Okay.
He was at a
Because
track.
you didn't see my jaw drop.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was gagged.
Yeah, nah, it's just teenagers.
Okay.
And so,
Carmelo Anthony.
backstory, real briefly. Carmelo Anthony was at a track meet. They had a tent. The high school where the meet was taking place, there was a tent just, I guess for students or whatever. And he went to that tent and sat up under it. And there were a couple of twins, and one of them, they were athletes. They weren't even on the track team. They were just there, and they tried to. The one that's unalive, Austin, he was telling them, "You got to go. This is not, you're not a part of this school. You got to go." And so he, I don't want to use the term bully because I don't know the whole story, but he approached him. There's some, there's enough to say that he did approach him. And Carmelo Anthony had a knife in his backpack, and he said, "Touch me again. Put your hands on me again." And Austin, may he rest in peace, he tried him, and now he's no longer with us. And so my thought of the day is about choices that we make, and we do have a choice. But don't be afraid. Don't succumb to peer pressure and the people around you that you're dealing with that allows you to exercise your choices. Because I say that Carmelo, number one, he's carrying a knife in his backpack. Why? I don't know. I don't know his surroundings. I don't know where he lives. I don't know. He's 17 and he's carrying a knife in his backpack for protection. But the thing about it is he had a choice. He had a choice. When he saw that there was confrontation, he had a choice to walk away or deal with him accordingly. And he chose the latter. He didn't walk away. And now, well, he's out now. His bond was at $1 million, and they got it reduced to $250,000, and he was able to get out. And they're claiming self-defense because he was being bullied. But the thing is it's going to be hard.
My question is, was he in fear of if he walked away, what would happen? If he turned his back on him, or if he kept stepping back, what would that guy have done? And what was the circumstances of where were they when this happened? Were there other people around? Would those people have been on his side or on the other guy's side? There's a lot of things that go through your mind because I've also been bullied before.
Right. And so you have to follow the letter of the law, because if someone approaches you and they're trying to get you away from them, and you say, "Put your hands on me again," and while you're doing that, you're reaching in your backpack. You're reaching in your backpack when at that point you're supposed to be able to walk away. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say.
You had time to go into
You had time
backpack.
you had time to say, "You know what, I'm gonna live to fight another day.
But
But if I catch him in them streets, I'm gonna get him."
So then my question is, like, was the backpack already in his hand? Was he already
brought
in
it
his
with him.
backpack?
He was going in his backpack as he was saying, "Don't put your hands on me again." He intentionally pulled it out because
Maybe he thought it would scare him off. But then when he came towards him, he was like, "You know what? Fuck it."
right, and I don't disagree with any of that.
I'm not saying that it was okay what he did, but at the same time, you don't know what was going through that little boy's head at that time.
Right, and that's why this is my thought of the day. Everything that you're bringing up is my thought of the day, because at that point, do you say, "You know what? you know what, this is not a good situation for me because, so we got a whole group of teenagers that belong to that high school and it's just him. Now they say that he had a friend that went to that school. That's why he was under the tent. That remains to be seen. But at a certain point, the reason why I say you have a choice is because your choice is now to inflict harm on somebody.
Right.
His intention was not to kill that young man because it's also been brought out that he actually admitted to it. He'd stabbed him and ran, and when the police stopped him, he was like, "Yeah, it was me." He didn't think he killed him. He said, "Is he okay? Is he okay?" Mm-hmm. So murder was not in his heart.
Right.
You know, you can tell by just asking, and apparently he was crying and everything. But my thing is at that point, once you cross the line, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because if you don't know if he's dead or not, then you was just out there like shack.
Yeah.
You know, you'd had no intention to just save yourself.
Yeah.
Now you're like, whatever
You could
happens,
have just
happens.
cut him.
You didn't.
Slice
You
them
didn't
instead
get
of
away from me.
stabbing,
Get away
you know
from
what
me.
I'm saying?
Get away
Yeah.
from me. That was
Like
not.
wave it in self-defense before you actually have to use it.
Yeah, I mean, and
But you
self-defense
just warned
is,
him as you went into your bag to pull it out, and then you just gutted it.
and then and self-defense is when you're in a situation that you cannot get out of.
Right.
So even if let's just say that, like you said, that he felt threatened and he felt like he needed that. Well, then the way you test that is you don't pull out the knife first because they were just trying to get him out of the tent. So what you do is you walk away knowing that you have this knife and knowing that you're going to inflict harm. Think about it. It's like,
yeah, I get what
and I'll go back to like Karate Kid, if I may. Mr. Miyagi, show me stand floor. Mr. Miyagi, his thing was, I'm teaching you karate so you don't have to fight.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that could have been the mentality. I'm carrying this so I don't have to fight. You know, it's got to be my last resort.
Right.
You know, take the L, hands to hand. You know, and I don't think anybody else was jumping in, but you know, fight your battle. And that goes back to you have a choice. And the reason why I say
but maybe
that
he wasn't trying to get his ass whooped either. Maybe he didn't know how to fight.
Thank you.
And he was really scared then.
Right, but we still have to look at the letter of the law.
The letter of the law.
Because now none of that matters. Now he's fighting for his freedom, and they was going to try to seek the death penalty with the original charge. And he's just 17. Ooh. And they've just painted this picture, you know, because he was a twin and he died in his brother's arms. They showed the parents talking. Wow. And so he's already guilty.
Wow.
But check this out. So when he got bailed out, they had this big press conference and the parents of the victim showed up and they told him, no, you know, you don't need to be here. The attorney for the suspect, you know, which is fair because that's just going to bring about that's conflict right there. That's conflict of interest. This is not about. It's not about you've had your time. You've had your time. You know, why are you here? We're just here to speak out, let America know our side of it, whatever, because people want to know. It's been covering the pages. But once again, that goes back to my thought of the day about having a choice. And once again, we have to go back to fact over feelings and peer pressure and how you're going to look to other people, because you have to seek a higher power to not worry about what everybody else thinks. And it's not easy. It's not easy to say, well, you know, especially if it's two different races. You have a young black male versus a young white male. And with today's climate, you're going to say, well, if I walk away and this spreads out, I'm going to look soft. But that's okay, because I'll take that over being in an 8x8 cell.
Right.
You know, and not knowing what the outcome is going to be at the end of the day. You know, and he's going to plead self-defense, but every situation is different. And so I don't want to limit it to this one situation, because it's all about walking away and being okay with that. It's all about, there's nothing wrong with being able to be strong enough to say, you know what, I think it's best that I walk away, because you have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove. Hobby, at your age, you've gone to elementary school, you gone to high school. Did you go to college?
A little bit.
You took
let's
some
say.
classes, right? So
I had
you've
straight
lived your life
highway.
though, and not only that, you're prospering in your field.
Right.
So, are you willing to give all of that up?
No.
Because, and see, I didn't even have to finish the sentence. So once again, that's why I say facts over feelings. You have to be able to say, you know what, I have a choice.
And it's only because I wouldn't do good in jail. I can already.
I wouldn't either. I've been there and I wouldn't do good. I'm
I
trying to
mean,
be a
had
trustee.
to beat up the biggest, strongest man, or
Gotta
just
prove your point. But see, once again,
Be
who
his
wants to
friend.
go through all that? But it's bigger than that. It's big. It's about life. Because let me tell you something. I've had some friends that I've talked to. If let's just say someone murdered your mom, would you seek revenge?
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
and I see, and I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna say no to that, and I'm gonna tell you why. My
Yeah,
mom is getting ready to be 79. So if you said yes, so go back and ask your mom. Go back and ask her. If somebody kills you, would you want me to seek revenge
and
on
she
you?
would say, "Hell yeah."
Okay. No. That's a talk. But the point is, that's a talk that needs to be had because a lot of people feel like that.
But see, my
as
revenge
adults.
would be different. Than
Oh
other
no!
people's.
See, I look at it another way. Like I
never
know
gonna
my
happen.
mom would say no, but I can't help my feelings.
Right.
about
And once
it.
again, fact over feelings. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, I honestly wouldn't actually know what
My
I would do in that
revenge wouldn't be
situation,
as far
but I
as
would
to the
probably
extent
want to
of
seek
murder,
revenge.
though. It wouldn't be that.
You
I'm-
say
I'm
that
gonna-
now because your mind, you're in a rational
No,
place.
but even when I'm in an irrational place, I still have a conscious mind to like make the right decision. I would get
You're
him
the
back.
anomaly then.
I will get him back in a different way. Like, I'm gonna find you. You're going
Right.
to go to prison. I'm gonna find the evidence that I need.
Well,
I'm
you have to
never
let the
gonna
law
stop.
play out because
Yeah,
there's
the law's
nothing you
gonna
can
play
do
out, but
because
at the
now
same
you're
time-
creating a charge for yourself regardless. You're going to have a whole separate case. And that's why I
Not
say
a charge on me.
Fact-
I'm
yeah,
just
if
helping
you-
them
if you-
discover
no,
what
no,
happened to my
yes,
mom.
if you seek
They
him,
need to go to prison for life.
you might not go to prison, but if you seek harm, you seek harm to harm somebody else, that's still a charge, and that's why this is
No,
that's why
I
this
don't
is so
wanna harm
important
him.
for my thought of the week.
I wouldn't kill him.
No, I just said harm. That's why I
Harm
said
would be
you're
getting
still
him
going to catch a
arrested,
charge.
get him to prison. No, I would say my revenge would be getting him locked up.
Right, but once again, that's not your place because you're not the law. And see, that's
But
what
I
I'm saying.
can assist.
See, that's your,
Citizens
see that you're
arrest.
talking emotionally now, and that's why we have to have
Yeah,
this
you
discussion.
gotta think
And that's why my thought of the day is you have a choice. You have a choice, and consequences matter. Consequences matter because at the end of the day, if you act on like D'Lo just said, I know my mom would say no, don't seek revenge, because she would probably say, I've lived my life. There's no way that I would want you locked up for the rest of your life over me when I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
It's just like Jordan said when those guys killed his dad and they asked him about it. So now justice has been served. What do are you satisfied? He said, it doesn't matter to me because it doesn't bring my dad back.
Yeah.
And so the whole point of my thought of the day is it's about being okay. Because like you said, even if you're not emotional and you're able to not be irrational, you still have to be strong enough to say, okay, I'm gonna let the law handle this. Let me take a step back. You may even have to reach out to somebody and say, look, I'm feeling this kind of way. This is what's going through my mind. I swear I want to kill. I just want to kill. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you still have consequences that you have to deal with. And when you're in an irrational state, you don't know what those consequences are going to be because like I said, Carmelo Anthony did not intend to kill that man.
But it happened.
But it happened,
He
and
didn't
you
know what he
just
was gonna
never
do.
know. It's
All
just
he
like
did
if you have a gun. If you have a gun, and if you don't know how to shoot a
And
gun,
do,
you
and
trying
don't.
to you trying to shoot him in the leg, and you hit him dead in his eye.
Yeah.
And so that's that's my thought of the
Yeah, I
day.
get
My
what you-
thought of the day is don't be afraid. Like the word says, the meek shall inherit the earth. And it's just for many reasons. The meek shall inherit the earth, and also vengeance is mine, oh saith the Lord. And so my thing is somewhere in there. I mean, and you don't have to be religious or whatever, but I use that to say find a way to be okay to continue the rest of your life, because at the end of the day, it amounts to nothing when you seek that revenge. You still lose. you still lose. And that's what, and that's always, and that amazes me, because they say that at the end of every, you know, when they ask people, they say, well, there's two people that have lost their lives on this. Because let's not forget, Austin should have been better too.
No.
He should have been better too. He had choices too. He didn't have to lose his life,
Right.
right? But he initiated it, and that young man, Carmelo Anthony, had a choice.
Yeah.
He had a choice to walk away or do what he did. And that's why I say we have to think about that, because in those moments, we don't think about the consequences, and we have to find a way to train ourselves to be better, because we have to be, like you said, I don't know if you've trained yourself, Hobby, to be able to, you just know yourself,
Yeah.
but have you truly been tested?
No.
And so that's the question.
Don't nobody want to test me.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Period.
America. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I
You know,
get
don't be afraid to say, no, I wouldn't, exact revenge for my mom. Because I've thought this out long and hard, and I've had discussion. I was my mom, skip that. And this is a dude, I'm talking to a dude that did 25 years. He went straight out of high school, went to the Navy and done some stuff. I won't say his name, but I'm having this discussion with him, and I'm like, but you just got out. Why would you want to go back? And you sitting up here telling us how horrible it is. Why, so my thing is in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, you need to work on yourself, because ain't no way after spending 25 years before I'm 21, I have to do, and it was military jail. It was horrible for him. Let him tell it.
Wow.
He said there was days he didn't think he was gonna make it out alive. So why would you wanna, put yourself back in that situation? And so even if I say it's my mom, there's nothing wrong with me saying I'm not exacting revenge on my mom. I'm
Right.
prepared. What I do is prepare my mom, for the day that her number is up, because we're all gonna die someday. It doesn't matter how we go or be unalive. It doesn't matter. We still have to be able to deal with that, because even when you exact revenge, are you gonna be fulfilled? Because you still have to live with the fact that your loved one is gone. And so what have you really done but made it harder for yourself? So my thought of the day is, you have a choice.
All right.
You have a choice. And that's all I have, America. What do you think?